Okay. Thank you to the reporters who are watching this on Facebook. To ask a question, just please type a question into the into Facebook, and we will get to as many questions as we can. I want to start right away by introducing our panelists today. First, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, representing the 13th Congressional District of California. We have Zoe Polk from the East Bay Community Law Center, Fred Blackwell from the San Francisco Foundation, Teresa Fortune is an Oakland resident and tenant who has accessed rental assistance during the pandemic, and Supervisor Keith Carson. So without any further ado, Congresswoman Lee.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alex, for this and for helping us at a staff level pull this press conference together. So important that we have my district staff and Washington staff work together to make sure that we have a chance to communicate with constituents, and I want to thank all the press to be here. Also to Fred, to Zoe, to Teresa, and to my friend Supervisor Keith Carson. I just want to thank you all for, on such short notice, being with us today. This is such an important issue, and I think it's important to communicate the fact that here in my district, which I'm very proud of, that we really work together in an intergovernmental approach, also with the private sector, with our nonprofits, to really make sure that people access the federal funds that we appropriate. As a member of the Appropriations Committee, I'm always trying to figure out where the money's going and how it's getting to my district, and you all have made it real. And so I just want to thank all of you for being here today and for being able to really let the public know how you're helping to make it real, and if there are any issues that we need to really sort of close the gap on or mitigate against. And so thanks to the San Francisco Foundation, Catholic Charities of the East Bay Community Law Center, Bay Area Community Services, and so many groups who have helped us get to this point with our tenants and with people who have been so victimized, unfortunately, through no fault of their own by this cruel pandemic. Now, this week and last week, you saw that we had an amazing level of activism, organizing, and much courage displayed by members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which I'm a former co-chair and also a member of. And of course, our good friend, Congresswoman Cori Bush of Missouri, our Progressive Caucus colleagues, we stood up and we spoke out as millions faced the threat of eviction in the middle of a deadly pandemic. Now, the eviction moratorium expired on July 31st, and millions were at risk of losing their homes. Now, I just have to tell you, for weeks, though, the Progressive Caucus had been calling on the Biden administration to extend the moratorium through executive order, something that the administration previously claimed they could not do due to a Supreme Court ruling. But after days of organizing from members of Congress across the country, from our activists, from all of you, the Biden administration reversed course and instructed the CDC, which was what we said should have happened in the first place. And so I'm really pleased that the president and the administration really got it before it was too late, to get the CDC to create a new eviction moratorium that covers, it's about 90% of the country and will last about 60 days. So it wasn't an extension of the old one. This was a new one. And so, of course, this just buys time for us. But we intend to, sooner or later, pass legislation to extend the eviction moratorium, because we can't keep going through this every 90 days. People need some stability in their lives. They need to know what's happening. This funding is crucial for renters and for small landlords. So a national moratorium, it's necessary to keep people off the streets with a roof over their heads. But in this once in a lifetime public health and economic crisis, we have to ensure that they can pay their back rent once the pandemic gets under control. And so we passed millions of dollars in Washington, D.C. federal funds, and over $12 million was allocated for the city of Oakland, and nearly $30 million was set aside for Alameda County. And California, quite frankly, has been doing a pretty good job leading the way by instituting the statewide moratorium until September, but that's only until September. while here in Alameda County, thanks to Supervisor Keith Carson and our Board of Supervisors, we have a moratorium in place until the pandemic is over. And so individual states, though, again, even with our local efforts and even what the state is doing, you shouldn't have to fend for yourselves. The federal government should be more of a leader in this effort, and we have to support everything that's going on here in my community and make sure that those who haven't figured out a way to access the resources, Teresa's going to tell us how she did, and we're going to learn if there are any bumps in the road that we need to help correct. So I'll stop now, and thank you all so much for being with us, and I'll turn this back to Alex to do the heavy lifting for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Congresswoman. First, we'd like to ask Fred Blackwell from the San Francisco Foundation to speak about the foundation's Keep Oakland Housed project and the work that they are doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Congresswoman Lee, for inviting me to participate in this and for your leadership in Washington, D.C. Always proud to have you as our representative fighting for us out there for the stuff that is important for us at home. I'll be kind of brief, but I did want to talk a little bit about a project that we've been working on with many of the folks on this call called Keep Oakland Housed. We've already known, those of us who have worked on housing and community development and health issues, about the link between public health and high quality affordable housing. But the pandemic has brought that intersection into sharper relief. We know that in order to follow the CDC guidelines around social distancing and sheltering in place, you've got to have stable housing situation. And so that is really important. We're very pleased to see the extension of the eviction moratorium, but as Congresswoman Lee said, we know that that's not the end of this story. Folks are still required to pay rent, and we know that families and individuals, particularly those who are essential workers and folks who already were vulnerable from a housing point of view, have been devastated economically by the pandemic and the economic consequences associated with addressing the pandemic. We also know that the majority of folks, the vast majority of folks who have fallen behind in their rent are low-income renters and people of color. And so we know the situation that we face here in the Bay Area, and we know that we need to be responsive to it. The other thing that we know is that rental assistance works. We know that because we have been doing it for a while. We know that it is exponentially cheaper, easier, more humane to keep people in their homes than to try to react to and respond to their situations once they have become unhoused. And so we are proud supporters of something called Keep Oakland Housed, which Zoe will talk about in a minute. But what Keep Oakland Housed is something simple, which is providing direct cash assistance, information and referral, legal assistance if you need it, if you're a family or an individual in danger of being evicted. And it has worked. It has worked for hundreds of folks in the city of Oakland. Programs that have been done like this in other places have worked for thousands of folks. And so that is why the rental assistance piece of this extension is so important. We need the extension, but we also don't need to forget that when the extension finally does end, that folks will still have to pay their rent. And so with that, I will turn it back over to Alex. I know you'll introduce some folks who have been working more closely on this, but again, we really appreciate the opportunity to be with you all today.
Okay, thank you. I would like to turn it over to Zoe from East Bay Community Law Center to speak about more about the work of the Keep Oakland Housed coalition, and in particular, I think we'd like to hear. We know that in Alameda County and in Oakland, we have an eviction moratorium that is ongoing. However, we also know that people are still getting eviction notices. So for tenants who are in that situation, maybe we can, Zoe, if you could give some advice about what people can do if they get an eviction notice.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. And again, my name is Zoe Polk. I'm the Executive Director of the East Bay Community Law Center. And I am one of the many privileged residents of Oakland, California that gets to say, Congresswoman Lee speaks for me. I just want to thank you so much, Congresswoman, for all your consistent and necessary language you've been talking about for years, certainly during this critical time, advocating on behalf of Oakland, but also 11 million renters nationwide. Your voice is just critical, and we are just so grateful for it. Keeping people housed by pausing evictions is critical to preventing COVID-19 infection and death. That's a fact. And what's more, we have to keep in mind that the people who are most vulnerable to eviction are also the very same people who are most vulnerable to the Delta variant. Because of our partnership with Fred Blackwell and the San Francisco Foundation, the Keep Oakland Housed Collaborative has been effective. In Alameda County, our team of advocates worked closely with Supervisor Carson to tie the local eviction moratorium to the emergency public health order. And so that means that until our public health experts determine that COVID-19 is no longer an emergency threat, Alameda County's eviction moratorium will stay in place. And this is key to keeping tenants safe and keeping landlords safe. And I'm remiss if I just wouldn't just call out particularly that national and local data evince that women of color are hardest hit by evictions, and women of color make up our essential workforce. Their safety and health is critical to the collective health and safety of our communities, city, and country. And our federal legislative policies and investments must reflect that value. The East Bay Community Law Center is proud to represent Oakland and the greater Alameda County. We are here for you if you need legal representation or advice regarding your rights under the eviction moratorium. And we know, to Alex's point, that despite the eviction moratorium, some tenants are receiving unlawful detainer notices. If you receive an unlawful detainer, a notice that says you have to vacate these premises immediately, please call the East Bay Community Law Center. We are the people's lawyers. We are available at ebclc.org and 510-548-4040, and we will help you navigate an unlawful detainer. Thank you again to Congresswoman Lee and Fred and the San Francisco Foundation for your support. And thank you also to Supervisor Carson for all of your advocacy to keep Alameda County residents healthy and safe.
Okay, thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Teresa Fortune, an Oakland resident and a tenant who has been able to access rental assistance during the pandemic, and she's here to tell us a bit about her story. Thank you.
Thanks, Alex, and thank you so much, Ms. Barbara Lee, for having me. It's such a privilege for my voice to be in a position to be heard. What I am extremely grateful for is keeping Oakland Housed has literally kept my family off of the street. I hit a couple of different target markets. I'm an artist, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a woman of color, and I'm a mother of a child that's in elementary school. So when your back is up against the wall and you can't go to work, even if you want to, because you have to stay home to take care of your child, it's extremely intimidating. And a lot of the processes, to be quite frank, they give off a lot of anxiety because there's so much data and there's so much information that's required. And in my experience with keeping Oakland Housed, the infrastructure that is in place for applicants to apply is so seamless. The process was very, very, very easy. But here's the kicker. If you don't meet the system halfway, it's very likely that you can be unhoused. The resources are available. We have to do the work so that we can secure our own situation. So I want to say thank you, Fred, for everything that you're doing for Oakland. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Keith. I really, really appreciate you. And especially as an artist prior to COVID, my goal as a community servant is to make sure that these resources are told around the city of Oakland. Terry McGrath is a really big developer in Oakland, and the two of us came together and we helped an amazing homeless senior citizen couple find senior housing that they qualified for. So because I'm able to stabilize and my rent is completely covered, my PG&E is completely covered, Catholic Charities, it's probably one of the best organizations that I've ever worked with in my life, I'm able to continue to serve. So thank you so much. And I look forward to moving forward and to getting through this together as a community.
thank you so much, Teresa, for being here.
Yeah.
And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Supervisor Carson to speak about the actions that the county has taken and resources that are available through the county.
Thank you very much, Alex. Alameda County is one of the 3,300 counties across this country that have the statutory responsibility for overseeing the health, safety, and welfare of its residents. And in Alameda County, we have about 1,600,000 people, 14 cities, and unincorporated area. I want to say a big thank you to Congresswoman Lee and to Congress for the passing of the CARES Act and the Rescue Act, because it is that funding that we have been able to put together on top of the work that we do every single day to keep people housed, to keep people healthy, to keep people out of the penitentiaries and out of our jails. And so I want to say a big thank you. In Alameda County, as was stated several times, all of our tenants continue to be covered, even beyond the national level through our active legal Alameda County eviction moratorium. To kind of go on top of what Teresa just laid out, which was a personal story, let me put it in the context here in Alameda County. In Alameda County, data shows that we have over 37,647 households that may be behind on their rent today. That 78% of those households are probably people of color based on the data that we're able to collect. Alameda County had received a total of about $127 million through CARES Act money, and we're hoping to get it through the rescue money in order to deal with a whole wealth of issues that are challenging people. But in the area of emergency rental assistance, we've been able to help tenants and be able to help landlords of all sizes, small, medium-sized facilities, up to 12 months in terms of back rent, and helping them with their utility payments, helping them to make mortgage payments in that regard. And so to date, we know that we've received over 4,600 applications for assistance in that area. And we know that that will probably grow as the pandemic continues to go longer and longer, and people are in a quandary with respect to paying their bills and being able to stay employed. So we've already spent over $77 million just on rent relief, housing relief alone here in Alameda County. And that doesn't include the city of Berkeley or Oakland because they receive their own allocation of dollars to try to assist in that. But for the other 1,600,000 residents in Alameda County, those monies are available. And I want to say a big thank you to our partners that have been helping us in this regard. Central Legal de la Raza and over 30 community-based organizations, including the East Bay Community Foundation, have already accessed $9.9 million to assist individuals to be able to fill out these applications, to be able to work with landlords, to be that negotiator, that in-betweener, to make the nexus between people who are afraid to navigate the system of bureaucracy. And so I want to say a big thank you. I want to kind of finally end on this because there is so much need out there, and we're already starting to think, what is post-pandemic life going to look like here in the East Bay and in Alameda County? And we're working with a number of different entities to think that through. But even as we talk about rent relief today, let's not also forget that we've also to date helped over 2,039 homeless individuals, people who have no home, who are sleeping on the street, who are sleeping in encampments right now. We've been helping them monthly to be fed and to be housed in some of our hotels. And so we're spending millions of dollars each and every month to try to even deal with our homeless situation and individuals who are unhoused on top of our everyday work in the community. For those who are interested in finding out more about Alameda County and how they can access the rental relief program, I'm encouraging you to go to www.ac/housing at acgov.org, or you can call 211 and apply. And again, I want to say thank you very much to Congresswoman Lee and to the caucus and everyone who's been continuously fighting on behalf of those of us who don't have that voice in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, sir. And thank you to all of the press who are watching this live on Facebook. We don't have any questions at the moment, but if you have any questions, if any reporters have any questions, they can follow up with our office after this. We will be sending this video to you with links to all of the rental assistance resources for tenants and for landlords. So thank you again to the panel. I will ask if anybody has any closing remarks that they'd like to make. Please go ahead.
Guys, let me just say how informative this was, hopefully for the public, the press, and for myself, and thank once again all of our panelists. And just say, one is that I have legislation, it's a Bill of Rights for renters. We've got to begin to look at how we not only build back better, but we build back bolder. And we need to use this crisis to not go back to where we were before, because having one unsheltered person in America is a moral disgrace. And so listening to Supervisor Carson and all of you, I think you have the formula as we move forward to make sure that we don't have one unhoused person here in Alameda County. And that's the goal, because housing is a basic human right. Everyone should have access to safe and secure and decent shelter. And there's no reason why that is not happening in this country. It's really a moral disgrace. And so I'm very proud of my district in Alameda County. I know there are many, many challenges, but I do know that everybody up is here in the East Bay steps up and meets these challenges in a way that many communities don't. So just thank you all very much, and let's move forward, and let's make sure all this money gets out. And if there are any hiccups in the system, I know you all are going to figure it out or call me. If we need to do anything with the federal government, we will. And just knowing that we are going to build back better and bolder here for the most vulnerable and the most marginalized people in our community. Thank you guys again. Good to see everyone. And thank you to the press for being on. Thank you, Alex.